Hey guys, so now that we're done creating our intro screen, the next step we're going to do is create those objects that are going to appear from our screen and kind of jump up, and we need to click in order to slice them like we do in the Fruit Ninja game. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and create a new sprite. So I'm going to hover over, choose a sprite, click on the paint. This you can rename to whatever your object is going to be. So since my game is a little bit Halloween inspired, I'm just going to type in candy. If you guys are doing the original Fruit Ninja game, you can call this fruit, or you can call it again whatever you want depending on what kind of theme your game is. So once you're done with this, we're going to take this step by step because there are a couple things we want to make sure to do. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create the object as a whole piece. And what I mean by this is there are two types of objects that we're creating. One when the object is appearing on our screen, and the other when the player clicks on it and it's actually been sliced. So we need to create two versions of the same object, one of them full or whole, and the other one sliced. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So for example, let's say that I'm going to make a candy. So again, as long as it's inside of my screen and at the center for the most part, I'm pretty much all set. So I'm going to go ahead and make a gumdrop. So I'm going to use the circle tool. I'm going to put this at the center. I'm going to use my reshape tool to kind of change the shape of it a little bit more. Going to remove this point. I'm going to take this out a little bit more to make it a little bit more round. And here I have my gumdrop. Now, we can do other things to it too. That's perfectly fine. For example, maybe I want to add a little bit of a shine to it to make it look nice and glossy. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my brush tool, make it a little bit thick, and use a lighter color than what I'm using. And then just add these 2 points to kind of make it look a little bit shiny. You can do other things too. You guys can take your time creating your own object. That's up to you. Now, the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is name this one. Okay, because we're actually going to be using the costume name and we want it to be numbers in order to know which ones are showing up and which ones are not. So now that I've created my first one, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. And we shouldn't need to worry about the name because it should automatically fill up to 2 for us. But if it doesn't, you can go ahead and change that. The next thing we're going to do is we need to separate this so that it looks like it's been slashed. But since we don't actually do that in this type of setting that we have for Scratch, we're going to have to change the way our costume layout is. So we need to convert it to Bitmap. We're going to use this selection tool. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is go ahead and select half of the object, and I'm going to turn it, and this is going to cut it. I'm going to space it out a little bit, and I'm not going to make sure that it's touching it yet, only because I want to make sure I have enough space to select the other side and not have to worry about it already touching. I'm going to go ahead and select, and if you can see, now I have that little bit of extra space to be able to select it and not worry about it. Now when I turn this piece over, now I can have it touching. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this a little bit more. So now that it's touching, now I have both versions. I can go ahead and maybe move this a little bit more to the center. And then if I want to, I can go back to convert to bitmap. This part you don't need to do. But now every time we're making a new object, the first of the object, so every odd number, so 1, 3, we're going to make the object whole, and every even number, so 2, 4, we're going to make the sliced version of that object. So we want to have 2 of these. So I already have my first set. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate the first one to have 3 and move it down. I can delete what's ever here, and then I can create my second one. So maybe this time around, I want to make a gumdrop. So I'm going to go ahead and pick pink, make a circle, and then I'm just going to add a couple of little polka dots. With different colors and different sizes. Okay, and almost done. As you can see, I'm just going to make this a quick little version of it, but you guys get the idea. You guys can take your time with making your own. This is just an example. Now that I'm done creating it, I'm going to again duplicate it. So I have my fourth one. So again, the odd numbers are whole. So my third one is whole. My first one is whole. The even numbers 2 and 4 are the ones that are sliced. So I'm going to convert to bitmap again, use my select tool, select half of it. Then I'm going to go ahead and move it and then tilt it. Again, I'm not going to have it touch automatically just so that I have space to select the other half. Now with that space, I'm going to select the other half, turn it as well, and now I can have them both touching. And then I'm just going to select these together, kind of move it a little bit more to the center, and then if I want, I'm going to convert it back into vector. So now I have all of my objects set and I'm ready to code. So take your time creating your own objects. Remember to take your time splitting it and making sure that the numbers are named. So each costume is named with a number. Again, the whole ones odd, the halved ones or the ones that have been sliced even. And once you're done with that, we can go ahead and code.